What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. I know I'm a little bit late with this video, but after the Huskies game, I just wanted to crawl back into bed, and I ended up sleeping for a few hours there. So, yeah. And by the way, for the Huskies game, obviously, it did not go the way that I wanted it to. I'll make a video about that later tonight. I know that that's obviously not the priority on this channel, but I'll get a post-game video out to talk about it because obviously I didn't stream the game, so I might have a little bit more to say than I typically do in a post-game video for the Huskies. But yeah, we got an injury report and a game status report to take a look at for the Seahawks and Texans on Monday night. So Brady Henderson has the latest. He also has the practice data, so we'll get a little bit of context here. And some of this stuff is pretty interesting, but overall, I would classify this as mostly good news. Be right back. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today. Get to it and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in, starting on the Seahawks side of things. As you can see, it looks relatively favorable, although my body is blocking some of it. But let's start with the one significant bit of bad news, and this is kind of what we expected anyway. Derek Hall is out, did not participate today in practice. I think we all kind of knew that was going to happen, so no Derek Hall for this week. And after the bye week, he's got a real good chance of getting back, but we are going to have to make do without him. And we certainly did last week, so I'm not particularly distraught about this, although I do think he is playing pretty well this year, and I do think that he will be missed in his own way. All right, so that's the one bit of clear bad news. Other than that, there are just 3 players listed here that are questionable. And I think questionable is... I think questionable tends to lean towards the player playing. Maybe not in the case of Josh Jones because he's a backup anyway and he doesn't typically play very much anyway, but Josh Jones, after a full week of limited participation in practice, is questionable. I like his odds. I do like his odds, but it doesn't really matter. We also have Julian Love, and this is kind of the big pivot one for this week, I think. This is the guy who could go either way. He was a limited participant all week, and he is questionable. Now, I think generally speaking, questionable, mathematically, it's supposed to mean you have about a 50% chance of playing. In practice, I think it leans more 60. So I would expect to see Julian Love out there on Monday. So I think that he is going to get out there. And I think we're going to have basically our whole secondary left because the same can be said for Devin Witherspoon. And if I move my face cam here a little bit, you can see that he was a full participant today after being a full participant yesterday, and he is questionable. Now, in my experience, a player being a full participant in 2 straight practices and then not playing on game day is very rare. So I would be very surprised if Devin Witherspoon does not suit up and go on Monday night. So I think that Devin Witherspoon is, I think he's good. And also, if you also look, oh, shoot, sorry about that. Face cam, if you look underneath, let me move it real quick. Yeah, Reek Woolen was a full participant again today, and he has no game status. So the secondary is coming back together. And a game after they were able to survive in a difficult situation with a very beat up secondary, it looks like they're going to get almost everybody back, if not everybody back. So great news there. No game statuses for anybody else. Everybody else looks ready to go. DeMarcus Lawrence, he wasn't injured in the first place. He's fine. Same with Leonard Williams. Jaron Reed was a full participant all week, so we expect him to play, but he does not have a game designation. And Nehemiah Pritchett was a full participant and should be good to go. So that's everybody. And it's pretty favorable, man. I think that if you had any general understanding of the way things looked coming into the week, you knew that Derek Hall was a long shot. So we made it out pretty good given that. And it could have been a lot worse at the very least, I can say that. So jumping over to Houston, the Houston Texans here, they're actually a little bit worse off than I would have expected based on where the week started, because things got kind of problematic for them, and a lot of their players went the wrong way as this week went on, and I don't know what to make of it. But Danico Autry, I talked about him earlier this week. That's a part of their edge depth. And after 2 days of being a full participant in practice, out of nowhere on Saturday, he doesn't practice. Now he's questionable. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to think of that. But it is very interesting that he suddenly went from everything's fine, everything's good, I'm ready to come back, here we go. Suddenly he doesn't practice and he's questionable. Jalen Reed, after a full week of being a full participant in practice, is still questionable. Now, I would expect Jalen Reed to play. I think it'd be very weird if he didn't, given the fact that he practiced all week. But the fact that it's questionable indicates that maybe something happened today, or like maybe something happened at the end of practice today. I haven't heard anything, but that's very odd. That's very uncommon. And then you've got, well, okay, Elijah Huzzie, not a big loss for that Houston team, if we're being real, but very odd here. He actually was upgraded to a full participant today, but then he's declared out. Strange. Now, they don't really need him. That's kind of not that big of a deal, Elijah Huzzie. But regardless, it is kind of weird that he's able to practice in full, and then they say he's out anyway. Here's the one that's really kind of significant. Christian Kirk had a hamstring injury pop up on Friday, did not practice today, and he's out. And he's basically their number 2 wide receiver. Now, I think he's just keeping that spot warm for a guy like Jaden Higgins, who I do like, but clearly for some reason they're not comfortable just letting Jaden Higgins be the guy yet. And that's significant. He catches passes in that offense. He's a meaningful contributor for that Houston team. So Christian Kirk, that means something, right? That means a lot. They have a lot more going on in the injury report than I would have expected when the week started. I'll put it to you that way. I'm not going to say that they're crippled, but Christian Kirk is a meaningful player to that team. Okay, so that's it for the injury report this week. That is your game status. It looks pretty good. I don't think you could have asked for much more as a Seahawks fan. And yeah, we've got a relatively healthy team going into this game. Okay, see you guys later. Go Hawks. And I'll have a video later tonight about the Huskies game. Again, I'm kind of deprioritizing that because I mean, you guys know how that game went. Did not go particularly well for me, but I'll talk about it later. Go Hawks.